I wanted to take a moment to recognize someone who has given so much to our industry. One of the privileges of serving as AASHTO's president is the opportunity to recognize someone who has gone above and beyond on behalf of the broader AASHTO community. The AASHTO President's Special Award of Merit recognizes an individual who's made outstanding and exemplary contributions to the work of the association. And this year, I'm awarding the President's Special Award of Merit to Bud Wright, former AASHTO Executive Director and longtime Federal Highway Administration employee. So Bud's career in transportation spanned more than 4 decades, and he has held numerous leadership roles and received a number of awards. He was the Executive Director of Federal Highway from 2001 until 2008, the first non-engineer to hold that position, and has received a lot of accolades over his career. But in 2012, Bud became the Executive Director of this association, and he was with us for 6 years before he retired in 2018. When Bud took over AASHTO, they had not updated the strategic plan in about 7 years. And I know we just went through a refresh last year, but Bud was the one that really changed the approach to developing the strategic plan. He recognized the importance of listening to our members and helping bring them together to define what the association should be working on and how to bring value to all state DOTs. He also believed that AASHTO should be supporting states in delivering transportation solutions, and he recognized we were becoming much more multimodal in how we do that, and he wanted AASHTO to evolve to reflect the changes that were happening within the state DOTs. So out of that strategic planning process came ultimately the restructuring of the AASHTO committees, and while there's many individuals and members who at that time were serving leadership roles and contributed to that process, it really was Bud as the Executive Director who spent a lot of time listening to all of our members and ensuring that every state's needs were reflected. And so I attribute a lot of the success that we're seeing today to Bud's tenure as Executive Director. Not only did he lead the Transportation Association through this planning and reorganization effort, but he was a mentor to so many of our AASHTO staff, those individuals who still serve the organization today, including our Executive Director, Jim Timon. So I know it was Bud's encouragement that led to many of us becoming much more involved in AASHTO. We have a tradition that the Executive Director visits with all the new CEOs to hear from them as to how we can best meet their needs and support them in their new role, but also to encourage them to be engaged in AASHTO. And I know I'm very grateful for the nudge that he gave me so that I would have the opportunities that I have had most recently serving in this leadership capacity. So in recognition of his incredible career, but more importantly, his contributions to AASHTO, I'm pleased to award Bud Wright the AASHTO President's Special Award of Merit. Unfortunately, Bud really wanted to be here today. He wanted to see a lot of his friends and reconnect, but he just welcomed a new grandson. And for that reason, he has some family commitments that meant he wasn't able to travel, but he did send along some remarks. So let's hear from Bud.
I'd like to sincerely thank President Sheehan for this recognition and congratulate her on an exceptional year as AASHTO President. I apologize for being unable to travel to San Diego to accept this award in person. I would have really enjoyed seeing many of my former bosses on the board of directors, my friends and colleagues from AASHTO, and the traveling troupe that makes up an AASHTO annual meeting. When Victoria called me to tell me she had selected me for the President's Special Award of Merit, I'll admit that I was completely surprised. After all, I'm kind of old news in the AASHTO firmament. But it made me proud to think that some of the things we did during my years as AASHTO Executive Director have had staying power. And when I say we, I mostly mean you who lead and work in the ranks of the state departments of transportation. I feel like my biggest contribution while at AASHTO was to stay out of the way and make sure members' voices not only were heard, but that the members set the direction for the association. After all, AASHTO is a voluntary affiliation. None of you or your departments are required to participate. It is only because you and your staffs find value in the collaboration facilitated by AASHTO that you continue to be members. If I played some small part in making that happen, then it was all worthwhile. So thanks again, Victoria, for honoring me with the President's Award. It means a great deal to me. I send best wishes to all of you in the AASHTO family, and I look forward to seeing all of you in person at the AASHTO Washington briefing this winter. Thanks.
So it was my honor to award this particular recognition to Bud, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing him at the Washington briefing. So I hope that many of you get a chance to reconnect with him or meet him for the first time if you have not had that opportunity. So now it's my pleasure to introduce Jim Timon, who's going to join me for the presentation of the President's Awards.
I also want to take a minute to say how great it is to have Bud Bright recognized with the Special Award of Merit. He has done so much for AASHTO as an organization, but also as within the state DOT community in general. I consider him a friend and mentor for me. Carlos, I will say, I was a little disappointed that there wasn't a video like we had for you, for Bud, because if you've seen some of those older pictures of Bud, you know, Carlos, you would not feel nearly as bad as you did yesterday. So there's a great picture. There's some great pictures out there. I'm sure they're easily found on the web. So anyway, all right, back to our program here. So